On the Raiders Rundown, we get more insight into what is going on inside the Raiders locker room. Plus, some Raiders insiders believe that Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller may not be able to return when expected. Also, is Derek Carr literally better than Justin Herbert right now?
Justin Herbert is both overpraised and maybe the most overrated quarterback in football.
All this and more will be discussed on the Raiders Rundown, so make sure you like this video if you haven't already and subscribe to this channel so we can get to 40,000 subscribers. So we all know that Josh Jacobs had an amazing game. He is actually the FedEx Ground Player of the Week. But what was interesting is what Josh Jacobs said after the game, speaking to Paul Gutierrez. Paul Gutierrez is quoting Josh Jacobs about the locker room, saying that Josh McDaniels did not lose the locker room. That is something that Gutierrez asked Jacobs, and Jacobs shook his head no and said this key thing: it takes losing your captains to lose the locker room. And then obviously a couple guys say things here and there, but then he says this kind of salty thing: you don't play that much, so do it matter? Wow, so whoever has been complaining about things in the locker room, we know there's been some chatter. Josh Jacobs is apparently claiming that they did not play at all. The captains are obviously Carr, Crosby, Adams, Colton Miller, Denzel Perryman, Duran Harmon, and then AJ Cole and Mack Hollins. So the reason why Josh Jacobs made this statement about how it takes losing your captains to lose a locker room, and a couple of guys say things here and there, but oh, do you really play? And it's probably the same guys that Derek Carr talked about in his press conference, saying he needs to talk to them man to man, saying he wishes they cared about this place.
There's things, in-house that we'll talk about, and man to man and all that kind of stuff that could be addressed.
And I wish everybody in that room felt the same way about this place. And as a leader, that pisses me off, if I'm being honest.
We're going to keep what was said in-house. Wasn't nothing crazy, but I mean, just, we had a conversation we had as a team, and that's kind of that.
But what Jacob says is that a lot of people are saying things about Josh McDaniels, and hey, I'm guilty. I've been pretty pissed about Josh McDaniels. But he says if you're on the inside, everything that he tells us, the key points to win the games, if we do the things that he says to win the game, we literally have the best chance of winning. So more backing the coach, and this could also be, if we're going to be cynical, this could also be the fact that the players obviously know that they're stuck with the coach. Mark Davis has committed to him, and the coach is the employer. You're not going to say anything about your employer. You're more likely going to criticize a colleague than your employer. But at the same time, I believe this is probably about some players in the locker room. Based on what Josh Jacobs has said, and based on what Derek Carr has said in the past, we did not know what Derek Carr's comments were necessarily about. But after the turnaround of the team, the morale and the faith that the players seem to have in Josh McDaniels in the locker room shows that maybe there's just some guys who don't play too much, who have been salty during the rough patches of the Raiders season. But there are some guys who we expected to play a bunch who haven't played due to injury, and that's Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller. Josh McDaniels had some things to say about their status of returning during the week of the Rams game, which is after this current week against the Chargers.
I think it's definitely, definitely close enough. It's just, I'd say timing and the fact that, that week is what it is. Sometimes it's hard to play guys that haven't had any chance to practice. It's hard to say he's going to play and hasn't practiced in a month and a half. So I think that's, you don't want to do the disservice to the player. So
what's interesting is that Josh McDaniels went out of his way to say that they may be healthy during the week of the Rams game, but he mentioned practice and them not having reps and not wanting to disrespect the teammates who have been practicing. So we know that when they were in the game, Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow struggled to have that same chemistry with Derek Carr. The question is, are they up to speed with the playbook in order to instantly contribute once they're back? Darren Waller even spoke once to Austin Boyd and talked about how complex this scheme is and how long it takes to learn.
Yeah, it's definitely challenging. It's taking time for a lot of people, and it will continue to take time. You really see guys flourish in like the third year of an offense, but not.
Yeah, and then Raiders Beat is reporting that Lincoln Kennedy, who works for the Raiders, works for their broadcast team on Raider Nation Radio on the Morning Grind podcast, says he believes Foster Moreau is going to be the tight end the rest of the season, most likely, in my opinion. So this is this guy's opinion, but you couple this with what Josh McDaniels has said about, hey, these guys may be eligible to return against the Rams, but they haven't practiced in months. So putting this together, it seems like Moreau might be the guy going forward for the rest of the season, but hopefully Renfrow and Waller could be up to speed and come back, because we're a better team when we have both of these guys healthy and ready to play. But a guy who we know will be back is cornerback Nate Hobbs, and Josh McDaniels is very optimistic about him playing this week against the Chargers, which will be good because Anthony Aver has gone on IR. He's not going to be able to come back till after 4 weeks. But Josh McDaniels had some positive things to say about Nate Hobbs and what he brings to the team.
Nate's a good player, period. Getting Nate back, a player of his caliber and toughness and energy and the way he plays can compete. So I'm excited to have an opportunity to hopefully get him back this week, and I know he is too.
And we're really going to need this guy against the Chargers because Justin Herbert was able to make some plays on us the first week of the game, and he now has Keenan Allen back. Plus, currently the Raiders defense has the worst passer rating and worst passing completion percentage of any defense in the NFL. So we definitely need Nate Hobbs, and I'm glad he's back. The passing defense needs to step up because we need to continue the train of Justin Herbert being worse than Derek Carr. There's some memes that have been circulated of Herbert being worse than Carr because, hey, the guy has pretty much the exact same numbers, 19 TDs and 7 picks. Oh, you're so sweet. Oh, but 18 TDs and 7 touchdowns. Hello, human resources, get away from me, don't harass me. And you have people talking about the same. There's some double standards. It's the fact that Justin Herbert is just praised and praised and praised, even when he has the exact same numbers as Derek Carr.
Justin Herbert is both overpraised and maybe the most overrated quarterback in football.
And maybe I'll end up being correct depending on how the rest of the season goes. I said on September 7th, prior to week 1, Derek Carr is better than Justin Herbert. And I did get some heat for it. There were some people laughing at me, saying that I'm ridiculous, saying that I'm nuts. And people even followed up and started responding to this later, sending more hateful memes. But hey, apparently it did work out well as they currently have pretty much the same exact numbers. And this is the week where the Raiders defense could step up and Derek Carr could continue to step up on the offensive side of the football. And then maybe he can create some separation between him and Justin Herbert this season. It's funny when people say Derek Carr crumbles under pressure like Joey Bosa, who's made these type of comments.
I was just pointing out something that I noticed when he gets pressure, he seems to shut down a little bit. Like I was just pointing something out that you could easily look up and see.
Joey Bosa is still on IR, by the way. He's not going to be able to play in this upcoming game. But Derek Carr, passer rating under pressure this year is at 81.5 according to PFF. Meanwhile, Justin Herbert is at a 69.6, significantly worse than Derek Carr this year. So I don't know, man. Maybe Herbert's ratchet, nasty long hair is getting in his eyes and he's not able to see these blitzes. But Derek Carr also has more big-time throws than Justin Herbert, ranked 12th in the NFL, while Herbert's ranked 4th, which I think is kind of unfair since they have similar numbers. And the Chargers defense has not lived up to expectations, 24th ranked defense right now. And Khalil Mack, who's all alone without Joey Nosa, has only had 1 sack in the past 5 games. Wow, Khalil Mack, that's kind of embarrassing, bro. Maybe he should not have spent all his time camping out in the woods playing acoustic guitar and should have worked on some pass rush drills. But the Raiders do gotta watch out this week. DeAndre Carter has been a decent wide receiver and special teams player for the Chargers this year so far. They can't allow these sacks to happen like they did in week 1, and they cannot allow any of these turnovers. Derek Carr had 3 interceptions against the Chargers week 1 and then had 2 picks last week, but I don't think these picks last week against the Seahawks were necessarily all his fault. But hopefully he can continue to build his chemistry with Foster Moreau and Mack Hollins. We can't have any of these situations again where Derek Carr's yelling at Mack Hollins and there's a huge miscommunication. And keep in mind, Josh Jacobs in an interview also made a joke about Mack Hollins not exactly knowing his play before they snapped the ball.
I noticed that half of the defense was looking at Mack because he didn't know what he was doing on the play, lining up. You know, when I hit the gap, team y'all get a big block. You know what I'm saying?
And people are laughing at the guy. So hopefully this doesn't happen against the Chargers because the Raiders have to win all the way out in order to make a miracle playoff run. And the Raiders will be at home in Vegas. Give me your score predictions for this upcoming game in the comments below. And if the Raiders do win this game, they're going to have great momentum facing the LA Rams the week after because the Rams are completely banged up right now. So hopefully they can pick up a W here, get lucky and face a banged up Rams team, and then you go on to play the Patriots and the Steelers. Make sure to join me on this channel live during the game, doing live play-by-play and reaction. Turn on notifications so you don't miss when I go live. My name is WiFiWillie. Check out some of these other videos if you want more content from me. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.